We are live. Welcome back to episode 15 of Blockchain Buzz. What's going on, guys? We're back with Cesar, Jesse, KIR Finance, keeping it real. My guy, Rule Black. What's happening, guys? How's everybody doing? Everybody panic selling? What's happening?
Sold it all.
Yeah, I'm gone. For the algorithm, I'm out. Screw crypto.
That's for crypto.
Bitcoin's dead, man. Didn't you hear?
Yeah, I heard. What was it now? It was 467 times Bitcoin has been declared dead. And I feel this from time to time. If you bought $100 worth of Bitcoin every time it was declared dead, today you would have $71,365,463.
Rob, you're just now showing us this? Come on.
Damn, I'm back in crypto, baby.
Yeah. If only I had known.
No kidding. But that's the thing of it. Right now, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but the searches, the Google searches on Google Trends for is crypto dead or is Bitcoin dead, I can't remember which one, is like at an all-time high. Right? Just like that is a bottom metric for me, right? That is definitely a bottom metric. So yeah, we're definitely. I tell everybody, like, don't try and time the bottom. Like we're in a decent range, in my opinion, to be accumulating. That's I started a fresh portfolio over on the Patreon, and I think I'm on like day 14 or something like that, where I'm just nibbling little bits here and there, because I do think we have just a little bit lower to go, but I'm not going to try to time the bottom, obviously, right? I'm going to hit a bottom range, and I'm going to DCA in that range. So these people who say, it reminds me, I'm having flashbacks from the previous cycle where Bitcoin was at $15,000, and you had people saying, wait, don't buy yet. It's going to 9. It's going to 9. And then nobody bought, and it shot back up to like 22 and consolidated at 22 for like half a year or something like that. I don't know. So everybody missed out on those rock bottom prices.
I remember that. I came on air that day and everybody was so convinced it was going lower. I'm like, it's at 15, 16 right now. What else do you want? Like, and it's not a either or conversation. You can buy a little bit right now and buy some more later. But
the thing is, it's really, really difficult. It's really difficult out there. Even for us, like for me, sometimes I find, so I can't imagine. Well, I can't imagine, because I was new in crypto at one point, but coin a phrase, I can't imagine what some of the newer people in crypto, only been here for a year or so, year and a half, maybe even 2 years, they hear this stuff, Bitcoin's dead, and don't buy now because it's going lower, kind of thing, right? And don't DCA right now when they eat, and then all of a sudden it next thing we know, it goes back up, and they're like, well, I mean, shit. Right? I miss my opportunity. It's a hard. I often say crypto is this market is so easy that it's difficult. If you could somehow eliminate all the white noise, all the people on the internet who don't know what they're talking about but are voicing opinions as facts, and all of the emotion that you feel throughout the roller coaster of crypto, if you could somehow eliminate all that stuff and simply put, like, shout out to Crypto Archie, he always says, he buys when crypto gets down around the 200-week moving average, and he sells when it starts to when it loses the 50-week moving average. No emotion, no this time is different, no anything. It's just that's his plan, right? And it's a good one, right?
Yeah, pretty solid. What did you think? Just curious. I remember you said something about having a head and shoulders on this one. And I think right when you should have had your other shoulder, it dropped. And, I've often see, I'm sure you guys have all seen this, like all these chartists, right? And the chartists seem to get all the likes and all the plays and all the follows. But the real players in the market know that, and they juice this lemon. Every time you think you know exactly what's going to happen, then they do the opposite and they liquidate everybody. And I think they did that again.
Well, I know Rob and Cesar are really good with charts, and I'm decent. But this October 10th, all the charts, all the data said we were going up. People were talking October, and then out of nowhere, Black Swan. So it's like you can do all you can as a charter, but if somebody like Binance or somebody decides to do something unsavory, I mean, what can you do about it? Like people will come out and blame you when, hey, I was reading the chart and that's what the chart said. This is what the data said. I can't be responsible that Binance came out and tanked the market.
Yeah, I'm sitting here right now reading the chart, going, "Oh, looks like we're gonna have a move up." And then I feel like you're watching Family Guy skips over to Trump sitting in office. Hey, watch this, Vance. Watch this. Tweet. Boom, crashes the market. Right? Pretty much. It's pretty much how it works. But yeah, this is what I was looking at. We came fairly close. I think we came within $2,500 of the of retesting the 50-week moving average from back when I said I thought we were going to come back up, retest it on a rally. We came fairly close. We came up to about 98,000, and it was sitting somewhere around 100,900 or something like that. So we were pretty close. We're like $2,500 off. So we didn't put in the shoulder that I thought that we were going to put in for sure, but we did have this bear flag, as you can see. We had that set, and sure enough, we did collapse right down into it. But I mean, one could argue right now Bitcoin's kind of putting in a bit of a bull pennant as we speak, right? For a little bit more of a rally, a little bit more of a relief rally going here, a little symmetrical triangle action. I don't know. What do you think, Cesar?
I don't know if anybody's aware of my position. I know it's hard to keep up with everybody and everything that's going on, but my position is I actually think, I mean, from here, it's not really important, okay, who's right or who's wrong, because regardless of do we go up, do we go down, the most likely outcome, you guys, is probably that for at least another month, but likely for several months to come. I'm thinking until April or May, and maybe even into June, we're going to be in a consolidation phase where the market might at times seem like it is breaking out and we are moving up and things are looking good. And then that's the height of it. And now we're coming back down to regularity, or the market is breaking down. We're going to lower prices, or we're at the lower end of that range. It seems like it's about to be bearish. We're about to go below 50K or 60K or whatever. We're about to start that next leg down. And then right then we'll revert back to the mean. I think regardless of what's going to happen, and I'll give my input as far as what I think is going to happen next for whatever that's worth. But I think that largely, and as we were talking about before we actually went live here, how don't worry about like timing the market, right? I think we have a lot of time. I don't think that I timed this Bitcoin bear market perfectly. I didn't time it well at all. This is my biggest flop on a bear market I think that I've had, as far as calls go. But even with that, we still have a lot of time. I don't think, if this is a bear market, and I think it is a bear market, I don't think that it's done. If we're going to consolidate for another month or likely several months before moving lower, I would assume that we've got like half a year, if not longer, before it's really an optimal time to start accumulating crypto across the board. Now, there might be some plays here and there. I think we'll see a little bit of life over the coming months. Just because we're stagnant and sideways doesn't mean there's no excitement, doesn't mean there's no plays to make. Like I said, we'll move up, we'll move down, whatever. But I'm thinking that right now we're in a very polarized point in the markets where there is a lot of fear, but there's also a lot of people making bets on that fear. And we get some, the market is, and again, this is just my perspective, the market is uncertain of things. And in these uncertain times, there's low volume. People are waiting for something to happen. And then when they get a hint that some direction is going to happen, then that volume comes in. We get these really quick, volatile moments. And then it's very, very slow. And then we revert back to the mean. And whatever that means, whether it's down or up, we'll revert back. And every pump will get dumped into, every dump will get pumped into. That's basically my expectation until May, if not June.
There's definitely a lot to unpack there. I agree with what you're saying.
Sorry, I went off. Yeah.
Well, that's what I want, right? That's the plan, Stan. Everybody, like a lot of people on the Patreon are people are feeling anxiety right now, but anxiety because they want to just start aping into things, right? And that's a message
Not a good idea.
yeah, the message you just
Yeah.
put out there. It's the same one I've been saying, guys. The one thing you can bet on right now is we have time. Don't throw everything in. Like I started a new DCA portfolio on the Patreon, but it's just little dipping my toe in every day because I do believe we have lower to go. I'm just getting some base positions, and I'll lower my cost averages as we go down. But I agree. We have the one thing we have on our side right now is we have time, right? You don't have to buy everything right now, right? And even if this is the bottom and we don't have lower to go, we're gonna be here a while, right? I've been saying for the latter part of the year we'll probably be in somewhat of an accumulation phase. But the question here is, are we going to see a little bit of a relief rally? I mean, if this month ends red, I think that's 6 months in a row of red, right? So Bitcoin is due for a couple of green months. How green is to be determined, right? Technically 5% is green, right? But um, that's but are we going to get that rally before the traditional lull of summertime?
Does anybody know Rob, you probably know, I'm sure you guys know, but does anybody know when the last time Bitcoin had 6 red months closing, right? Because if February closes here, we're closing 5 red months in a row red. Anybody know when the last time?
28. I want to say 2018.
2018. That was the only time in Bitcoin's history that we closed 6 months in a row red. We've never closed more than that. Mm-hmm. It's rare for Bitcoin to close more than 3 months in a row. We haven't done that since 2022, and we're doing it now. Or 2021 even. I don't remember if it was 2021 or 2022. So it's not that it can't happen. We could close 10 months in a row red. It can happen. And at some point, we probably will in the future. Maybe it starts now. But from what we have, historically speaking, like you were saying, Rob, even if March is a red month, that's our 6th red month in a row. Are we going to set a new record here when we're at peak fear, when we're oversold, when we're depressed and people are panicking? It's probably not going to persist for too much longer. We should see some relief probably next month. Probably. I think we'll start off March to the downside and then come up through the rest of the month.
I think that the disappearance, for lack of a better term, of the tariffs could be a catalyst. I mean, we saw pretty much all markets respond in a positive way. And one of the questions I was getting asked all the time, yesterday, was why are markets responding positively to this? And for me, one of the biggest reasons is because immediately you saw a lot of retail companies, manufacturers and stuff immediately started announcing prices are about to go down on their products because they don't have to pass those tariff fees onto their customers anymore, right? You started seeing that kind of thing right away. And that tells people on whether it's emotional or whatever level that, okay, a little bit of financial relief here, right? What do you think, Jesse? Or Caesar, you got your hand up? What's going on?
After Jesse, I want to ask a question relative to this. So I want to know what Jesse thinks too.
I was just going to say, I saw a headline the other day, something about a big outflow from the ETFs. And I wonder if that's playing a really large role in this, because those are theoretically institutional investors, right? And maybe this tariff thing is possibly weighing on them, and maybe that has a lot to do with this outflow and this continued trend on this kind of hit against Bitcoin, right? So theoretically, if the tariffs were reversed, if there was some sort of windfall, would they then be looking to put that capital back into something like Bitcoin? Possibly, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents.
What's your question there, Caesar?
My question, I can't remember what it was. Can you hold on. Oh, I was so close, and then I got distracted on another thought.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
What do you think, Rue? You're muted, brother.
Mute.
A big question too will be if we get an Iranian war, right? How would that affect things? Will that mean that the dollar goes up because defense and all of that? I'm curious to see how that's gonna play out.
And then the question, I remembered my question now. But damn, that's a good question too. I want to reference that too. The question I was going to ask is because Jerome Powell throughout this whole past year where he's been too slow, Jerome Powell. I actually, and I know this is against what most people think in crypto, but that's probably means that you're on the right train of thought. I think that Jerome Powell's actually good for the economy. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's smart. I think he's revered and renowned in his space, and there's a reason for that, right? I think he's a smart person. I think that lowering the interest rates slowly is a good thing, not a bad thing. Anytime we've seen that, anytime the interest rates have dropped fast, we've seen the markets act out negatively. When they're dropped slowly, this is whenever we've seen the markets go up. Even if they're increased slowly, we see the markets go up. And again, the idea there is if we're having quick, if we're seeing immediate and very extreme policy shifts in the interest rates, that typically means there's a need for that. There's something wrong with the economy, so that needs to happen. Slow shifts are good. I'm just defending why I think Jerome Powell deserves to be in his position and why we're actually blessed that he's in this position, honestly. But a lot of his philosophy over the past year, and that's just my opinion. We don't have to have shared opinions. His philosophy over the past year is that these tariffs have put a big question mark on monetary policy for the Fed. And whether you want to say that's just political BS, that's blah, 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 whatever, who cares? It doesn't matter. There's no more tariffs or this, not no more tariffs, but it's chilling out. I'm wondering, is this going to have a positive impact on interest rates? Are we going to see interest rates lower because of this? And I know Jerome's about to be irrelevant, but will this be a cause for some easing here pretty soon?
Well, I think that I agree with you. I think that it's a matter of what you're looking at, right? What your expectations are as an individual. For a zoomed out perspective of the economy, I agree with you 100% that lowering the rates at a slower pace makes so much more sense. The problem is most people in crypto are not looking at the economy in a zoomed out. They're looking at their portfolio saying, "Come on!" you know?
You look at any time that they've dropped the rates fast, and it always shakes the markets out. That doesn't mean that you don't recover, but the recovery time, I mean, I don't have the charts pulled up. If I did, I would show you guys. I don't want to go through the whole journey. I don't want to linger on this too long, but just trust when I tell you, historically, it's not that a quick shift in monetary, it's not that a quick shift in the interest rates would necessarily be catastrophic for the markets, but it would upset the markets a little bit. Like if we saw interest rates drop, I don't know what they're at right now, but if they're at 4% and they dropped to 2% next month, that would not be good. It might have positive longer term impacts, but the short term impact would be negative. And the reason for that, again, is if you do a quick shift, that's not because everything is good. It's not because the economy's fine. You do a quick shift when you need to make adjustments right now to save things before something worse happens. That's why these slow shifts are typically a good sign, because if they're doing slow shifts, that means they've got the economy right where they want it, so to speak. That's why I think it's better to see slow shifts.
It also injects uncertainty into the markets, and smart money doesn't like uncertainty, right? So
Yes.
that's definitely. Brandon says, "Is there only one Hashgraph project?" Rue, I believe there is, isn't there?
There's more than one. There's multiple.
What does he mean by that?
Like
Hashgraph.
using a hash graph instead of like a regular blockchain. There's more.
Yes,
than one.
there's several. Yeah,
Talking about like Hedera, the graph. Yeah, there's a few of them.
Is Caspa? Do they don't
Yeah,
don't they?
It's a block dag. So it's
Block dag, yeah.
Is there differences? I don't know. I'm not the most experted person with that.
That's all good. Bottom line, there's more than one for sure.
It's just about how the how the messaging is on the blockchain. It's like blockchain is just straight line. Block DAG is kind of like a spider web, and they all kind of, it's, I guess, think about it like that.
And then what's
Uh,
Hashgraph? Is that not the same thing?
It's closer to Block DAG, isn't it, than blockchain?
That's what I thought, because I always thought that Caspa was the first block DAG technology, but I
it
think
is.
Hedera is the first one technically. And
Hedera's,
I don't
think
know. Again, I'm
Hashgraph.
not. I'm a chart monkey. I don't know. I'm just, but I could be confused.
Hedera's Hashgraph only, and Hashgraph can be faster than blockchain, but it's way more centralized. Um,
Yeah.
so, like, there's companies like Constellation DAG, which who knows where they're at because they got purchased by some other company. So, but
I
the
used to,
major, I'm sorry.
I used to like DAG, but now
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, like now what happens? So yeah, Caspa, DAG, Hedera, probably some other ones I can't remember off the top of my head. There was another one, but yeah, they're
I think
multiple.
Jesse said graph, by the way, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ken Rockhound says, how's it going, guys? Great to see you all. Thank you, Ken. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Of course, we have the one and only Elon Muff in the house. Man, the legend. My guy, Elon. Good to see you, buddy. See if we have anything else.
The outflow wasn't that much, Elon Musk. The outflow wasn't that much, but there was a lot of liquidity that was otherwise locked into the order books for market making that got exchanged between hands. Like there was a shift in custodianship because of the liquidations that took place on that day. Like the market makers got effed. And that broke the system. I think October 10th is probably what started all this. But no, did the money leave the market? No, probably not. Probably. Well, maybe not on that day. It's been leaving the market since then, though. If you have $20 billion get liquidated in one day, that's the largest liquidation event in history for humankind, not just in crypto.
Yeah.
Somebody got screwed. People that have that kind of money, they're going to take their chips off the table until a product comes along that they can trust, right? I think there's a job opening in the crypto space for some kind of solution to this issue that happened on the 10th. And I'm sure that the people who know what they're doing are working on this, but I don't know. We're only going to be made better for it. But no, like he said, the money did not leave the market. The money's probably still in the market and has slowly been leaving since. There's still probably a large part in there, but what they're probably looking for is a new solution, a new company. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much.
There's a lot of uncertainty. Yeah, I mean, I always use the saying, it's not a bear. Just because it's a bear market in crypto doesn't mean it's a bear market everywhere. Liquidity's somewhere, right? It's just a matter of finding it and then figuring out where it's going next, right? That's the trick.
Okay, so two thoughts. So what do you guys think about the implication of high frequency trading on this whole thing? Because I think that's what a lot of the sudden drops and spikes are, is that high frequency automated training. And then the other part that I've been thinking here is that with these prolonged red months, who's the next domino to fall? Like, because the thing is with a lot of these alts, you can only sustain this for so long. I mean, let's be honest. And then something kind of has to give somewhere, unless you've got some other source of income or something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I'd like to use Moonwell as an example. I pay close attention to what they're doing because, they have a lending protocol, right? And right now, their profits are really, really good because all of these traders who continually get wrecked are continuing to take out loans on Moonwell, right? And they're just cashing in the chips. So I know that project is healthy, and I'm sure a lot of the similar lending protocols, XPL, I'm sure is probably okay. So I know SwiftCoin has a lending protocol. There's lots out there, but I'm sure that they're doing fine right now. As long as these traders,
Maple Finance.
Yeah. What's that, Jess?
No, I was going to say, kind of going back to the high frequency thing, though. One of the things that they do in the stock market is they have these hard stops that they will activate when the high frequency all drops at once. But in crypto, you don't see that. Like just literally the whole bottom drops out and it goes farther than it ever would and it liquidates everybody. So I don't know if anyway if anyway in crypto that would be possible to have some sort of checks along the way. I don't know if you can do that in crypto though, you know.
Yeah.
You'd have to, it would have to be through a centralized, like you can, but it wouldn't be decentralized. It wouldn't be like crypto, like the spirit of crypto. It would have to be some kind of centralized infrastructure, which Jesse, honestly, guys, anybody watching this, that this is a really, I think, intelligent point to make that he's making here, because this is a problem. This is something, like he just said, the stock market has this. It's a fail-safe. It helps in moments like this because it's inevitable. The system's going to have faults and there will be exploits of those faults. But those safeguards in a centralized environment happen. I'm running through a whole nother conspiracy in my head right now. I'll get to that maybe some other time. But just the idea here that can there be a solution? Will there be a solution? What will that solution look like? I think that there's value in a question like that, because there will be companies who attempt to facilitate the need of this role. And if they're crypto companies, if they're in the stock world, if they're projects, if there's some way to invest in that, just think about it. I don't know. DeFi, there's a lot of DeFi protocols that I think could be applicable to something like this. I don't think it'll be as it was, just one, like Wintermute, just one company orchestrating the whole thing. It might be centralized, but maybe through like an oligarchy of centralization, through like a network, kind of like how we have traditional banking set up. And that's a faulty system in itself, but it might be what we do. And again, with crypto, I've said this several times in my time on my channel, we're probably not just going to shift from centralized to decentralized. It'll be slightly less centralized, but still predominantly centralized with a hint of decentralization. And then we'll slowly shift into decentralization as time goes on. But this solution Jesse's talking about, will it happen? Could it happen? What does that look like? It's not going to happen through a decentralized mean. It's not something that crypto can provide necessarily in itself. But who can provide that service? If there's a way to invest in that or be a part of that, that is valuable. It's clearly valuable. Look at what happened on the 10th of October, and since then, it's clearly valuable. It's something that we need. I don't know.
Two things there. On the 10th, when everything dropped, it kind of reminded me of what happened with Robinhood and GameStop, in that like they shut some things off where people couldn't like cash in options and different things like that. I know a lot of people could not buy the bottom, and they tried to buy the bottom, but exchanges wouldn't let them make purchases. So that was very interesting on that part.
Well,
But then
they were stopping people from pumping the prices on GameStop, right? So that the big wigs that were shorting it were getting wrecked.
exactly, so it reminded me of that because we couldn't buy the bottom. They didn't allow us to. But somebody was buying the bottom because the prices were going up. So there's that. But then to Caesar's point about centralization with a sprinkle of decentralization, you can kind of see that a little bit with what Zebek is doing right now with companies like AVAIL, where they have these privacy payroll, basically with AVAIL, where they have the Circle USDCX that they're doing with them, where they're doing kind of this privacy payroll. So, hey, now we can pay you, but no one gets to see it on a permission blockchain. This is private. This is something that people shouldn't, like companies wouldn't want you to see how much they're paying this one for that, or how much they're getting in bonuses or whatever. This is information that companies have always wanted private, so we're going to keep it private. So I think moving forward, we're going to see like companies like Aleo. We're going to see like these kind of mix of like permissioned, not permissioned, but part public blockchains like Circle's Arc, Stripe's Tempo. So I think we see more of that in the future here.
Yeah, I think we're slowly moving towards a gray area both from both extremes. You've got TradFi on one side, you've got crypto on the other, and you have, like Caesar was talking about it, and you were talking about kind of crypto moving a little bit closer towards a gray area of decentralization and centralization at the same time in certain aspects, certain characteristics. And you're seeing similar things happen in the stock market, where they're trying to phase out off hours and go 24/7 and stuff like that, right? So they're kind of trying to shift into the same gray area as crypto, and they're kind of, eventually we'll slowly meet in the middle somewhere across this. And how long is it going to take to get the average retail investor and the rest of smart money to dive into the market, though? How much safer do they have to feel is the question.
If we understand that, if we're in a consensus, I don't know if we all feel the same way, but I feel like it seems obvious that yes, we will slowly shift. We'll go from mainly centralized with this hint of decentralization to still mainly centralized, but a little bit more of a hint of decentralization. We'll slowly shift that way. If anybody watching this agrees with that kind of thought, my thought on that would be, if I was investing in DeFi, in crypto projects or in stocks, whatever that have anything to do with DeFi, I would want to make sure that the DeFi protocols I invest in are not decentralized, that they have decentralized applications, but that there's a centralized force backing them. Because if there's not, you're going to get left behind, because we're not a totally decentralized world. So like ADA, Cardano, it's very decentralized. That's not an advantage, at least not right now. Maybe it will be in the long term, and maybe there's something there because of it. But this transition, if we're trying to bring institutions into crypto, which again, I think institutions need us, we don't need them. But if we think we need them and we want them in crypto, you need some type of mode that has decentralized applications. It's there for show, but largely it's still a centralized product. These big dogs with big money need people who can answer to them, who can calm any concerns, or it's not going to get like that overnight unless there's some type of mitigation. And the projects, if you're investing in DeFi or anything in crypto, that might be something to take into consideration. Decentralization in that aspect is not necessarily a strength right now. We want to get there. That's the goal, but just think about that in your investments.
Well, I think
100% agree there. And to his point with the example he gave, Cardano, that's exactly why they created Midnight, because they needed the zero knowledge proof technology so they could have the privacy there. So yeah, that's exactly where we're headed.
Is it Ethereum's there? Is there an EIP? There's a proposal for private addresses. Is that a thing? One of my buddies was telling me about this. Anybody? I'd have to look it up. He was telling me about this. I don't know. We're both, me and him, we're not like the most tech savvy people with this stuff, but he's not. He doesn't just make things up. I'm trying to see if I can find it real quick. Hold on.
I think that the idea behind decentralization in the early years of crypto was a big deal, but I think that, and I'm not saying that decentralization is necessarily a disadvantage or that it's bad, but again, there are shades of gray, right? And in some aspects, it's not so great, right? I hear a lot of arguments for people promoting blockchains, for example, like Cadena. And that was one of the biggest arguments for Cadena, was that it's a completely decentralized platform, so it's going to be bigger than everything else. It's more decentralized than Solana. It's way better than Solana. Well, did that age well? Right.
Well, there's people watching this who don't even know what Cadena is.
It means blockchain in Spanish.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that. I like Spanish.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's interesting, if you go all the way back to the beginning, so Bitcoin was founded after the 2008 crash, right? The banking crash, the repackaged mortgage loans, all that stuff, bad TradFi, let's say.
The Big Short.
Yes. And so decentralization has always been one of these core ideas to it. And you can kind of see, going back in time, it was meant to be a peer-to-peer payment system. Now, the irony in it is, even in the build out, the structure, let's say the engine, mining has never been decentralized, and it is definitely not decentralized today. So, like if you listen to like the Bitcoin conference, there's all these like anarchists and stuff talking about, how they're against TradFi and they're against the government. And, it's just peer to peer and they got to get away from it and all these things. But the reality is you really can't do that. And if anything, over time, it's become more centralized as it's become more adopted, right? So, yeah, the idea of decentralization, I mean, it's still out there and it's still a great concept, but I don't know if it's ever going to be a zero sum game like it's marketed to be, you know?
I agree with what you and Caesar were both kind of implying there, and that is at the end of the day, smart money, these big companies, these investors, what they want to know is if this blockchain goes down that I'm invested in, who's gonna fix it? Oh, it's decentralized. Nobody. Not interested, right? So, I mean,
Exactly. Hey, I'll just move on to the next project, or I'll make another one that's exactly like this, but it doesn't have this bug in it, and now
yeah,
it's decentralized. Like, yeah, people aren't loyal to that; they're loyal to the pump. And in this crypto community, your decentralization means that you have people who are just here if you pump.
yeah,
They'll move on to the next one if it's but there are things like Bitcoin and maybe certain legacy cryptos like Bitcoin Cash or even other cryptos that do have that cult following that decentralization might not necessarily be as big of a negative to them, and it's more of a positive. But to Jesse's point about centralization versus decentralization in mining, just a little history lesson for the kids out there who are new to crypto. When I say kids, you could be 60. I don't care if you're new to crypto. That's what I mean. All right. ASIC mining, I think, is really what took that away. What really and centralized. Even before ASICs, we had centralized mining. But ASIC mining, for those of you that don't know, people used to be able to mine bitcoins on their laptops. You'd probably be able to do it on your phone, like today, but not today because ASIC mining is a thing. ASIC mining really took away the capacity for, I think, the decentralization of the blockchain in its nature. But ASIC mining is kind of necessary. It was a necessary advancement because it made the algorithm jump up a lot. It allowed processing of this data to happen a lot faster. It basically ups the difficulty a lot. So it makes the blockchain more secure. But because of the ASIC mining, now not just anybody can mine Bitcoin. Anybody can mine Bitcoin, but they need a specific type of miner with a specific program to do this, right? Otherwise you have no chance in hell. And the only people who spend money on that typically are organizations, venture capitalists who have extra money, or just corporate organizations, institutional, whether they're considered institutional or not. If you've got a solid bit of capital deployed into a mining operation, you are like an institutional miner in crypto. But and talking about centralization, man, I mean, we're probably more centralized now than ever. We've never had a micro strategy where most of that Bitcoin is all held by one custodian. There's arguments to be made that there's decentralization aspects to that too, because Michael Saylor himself doesn't own all the Bitcoin that MicroStrategy owns, right? That's all your investors, all your institutional funds, but it's still all in one thing. It is very kind of anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto in its nature, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable, right? Like it's a smart business strategy. Anybody who doesn't do it is just going to get passed on by the person who does do it. It's the same thing with ASIC mining. It's the negative is now not anybody can just participate in mining, but it makes the network more secure, and it's kind of an inevitability. It's just something that's going to happen. I don't know.
yeah. Pap shooting some cheddar our way. So Zebek Metal XPR Loan Moonbags Packed. Thank you guys for all your work you put in all day, every day. God bless you all. Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, Pappy.
Thank you, Pap.
So Jesse, you and I have had this conversation over the last couple of years, many, many times. And I think that it bleeds into what we're talking about here a little bit. And that is, a centralized blockchain. I think the most successful ones in terms of institutional investors, treasuries, whatever you want to call it, is going to be determined by who is the rock star. What I mean by that, as I'm sure you know where I'm going with it, who's your David Schwartz? Who's your Charles Hoskinson? Who's your face, right? And the blockchains that don't have that, I feel like that is what's missing. And you could call that, in a way, on a social scale, centralized, right? Charles represents Cardano fabulously on the internet. I mean, the man is live from sunny Colorado every freaking day, right? So, what are your thoughts on that, though? Do you think that the most successful blockchains are going to need your Brad Garlinghouses and your David Schwartz or your Charles Hoskinsons or, you know, Justin Sons? I don't know.
At the moment, yes, I do. You know, I mean, you know, you look at, I don't know if Bitcoin's still 40 whatever percent of the market or whatever it was. Ethereum's 20 something. I mean, they kind of fluctuate, let's say, and let's say they're 70 to 75, whatever the number is. So you're all kind of vying for that last 25%. And how do you truthfully stand out from the crowd? You know, kind of going back to Cadena that we were talking about earlier, they had one of those guys. And that was one of the reasons that they were actually kind of impressive.
Wow.
And it didn't work out, right? Another example of this would be the Super Intelligence Alliance or whatever it was called that brought a bunch of them together as like a super group. And that was the clash of the egos. And one of them blew off. I think Ocean quit or whatever. And that didn't pan out, right? I can think of a star out of Japan. What's his name? Sato? I can't think of his name. Anyway, he's another one, you know, that has kind of taken off. And so you do kind of need that charismatic leader that makes you relevant. I think, you know, with Ethereum, Vitalik is so odd. He's so out there. He's like from another planet that he just kind of naturally is like that, right? Everybody's like, if you ever see those videos, there's a couple of videos where people are like kind of following him along and they're like, oh, is he going to tell us something great? And he's kind of like Forrest Gump when he's the runner. And he's just like, I think I'm going to leave now. You know, like he's got no great wisdom or anything. And they're just like, huh, okay, you know, but that's him, you know, he's the guy, all of our faith's in him. So I think you do kind of need that guy if you're going to, or girl, if you're going to stand out. You need somebody that's going to keep you relevant, you know.
He's faded to the background a lot in this cycle. He was front and center throughout the 2021 cycle, and not so much since then.
Well, you know, even when he was fading out, they put that meme of him with the tight pants, and all of a sudden he's relevant again.
Like, do people put a turn on there? It's a bull flag. It's a bull flag.
I mean,
you got something to say, Cesar? What's going on, buddy?
This is something that I do have an opinion on. Now, I'm looking at the top 10 cryptos. Okay. The very top coin, Bitcoin, has no face to represent it. It's Satoshi Nakamoto. We don't know who that is. It could be a group. It could be whatever. Right?
One could argue that is a face.
You could argue that's a face.
Or Michael Saylor.
I think you're right. You could. There's figureheads. There's definitely big people. But the biggest crypto in history doesn't matter if Michael Saylor is found to be fraudulent or if whoever likes Bitcoin Jesus, who is Roger Ver actually technically, if people are found to be fraudulent, because Bitcoin's still going to run without him. Now, if Brad Garlinghouse is found to be fraudulent or something big happens with him, XRP's boned, guys. It's boned. Same thing doesn't happen with Bitcoin. That's the difference. I mean, there are faces with Bitcoin. Jack Mallers is a face with Bitcoin, right? Like, you know, Da Vinci Jeremy is even like a face with Bitcoin, or Carl from the Moon, like big, you know, OG Bitcoin holders. But the difference there is that they don't have a connection with the success of the project. Now here's what I was trying to say is that in the top 10 cryptos, Bitcoin's the top dog, and I would say doesn't have somebody like that. Ethereum does. So we have two very top projects who, clearly different dynamics as far as representation goes, still dominant in crypto. Tether. Does anybody know who the figurehead of Tether is off the top of their head? They do have a figurehead. They do have a figurehead. I forget his name, but he's not too publicly known. But if something came out and if something fraudulent happened with that company, Tether would be screwed. That's number 3. That's the number 3 crypto. XRP has Brad Garlinghouse. BNB has CZ. USDC, I don't know who they have, but I know they're centralized as well. Solana has whatever his name is. Tron has Justin Sun. But then we get into Dogecoin and Bitcoin Cash. And Dogecoin and Bitcoin Cash, like Bitcoin, don't really have a public figurehead. Sure, Dogecoin has Elon Musk, but if Elon Musk flops, that doesn't mean Dogecoin flops. Bitcoin Cash has Roger Ver, though he stepped back a lot. There's not really a public figurehead for Bitcoin Cash, right? Like, I mean, I just think there's out of 10 top projects, 7 of them have a figurehead, but 3 of them don't. So I don't think it's a necessary thing. And personally, just to build all this up, I think there's an advantage to it in that sense of no bad PR. That's kind of why, and I know Onyx Coin, they're centralized. I know that their chain are the developers and stuff, but there's no like figurehead with that, right? Like I think some people look at that as a weakness. I think that there's something positive about that as well. Having a figurehead is good if you have the right narrative, if you have the right product, if you have the right person, but it can be bad if you don't, is what I'm trying to get to.
In theory, XCN is supposed to be decentralized, even though chain's behind them. They do have a DAO where they're not supposed to be doing anything unless the community votes. But you could say the same thing with Tron.
Yeah, no, it's if we were not centralized with Onyx Coin would be a flop. I'm glad that it's centralized. They can say they're decentralized all you want. People can play Tea Party. I'm not going to play Tea Party though. We know, and that's okay. That's good. I'm glad. We know. That's you can say decentralized all you want. I'm not going to say it. I'm not,
the moment they voted Justin Sun in as a validator, we know.
Was that the giveaway?
I mean, it might have been before then, but then was painfully obvious. But
I love Justin Sun. I know he's the bad boy in crypto, but it wouldn't be the same without him, you guys. It really wouldn't be the same without him.
Remember when he ate that banana and everyone thought it was like the banana that I was like, that's not the banana. I'd be like, yeah, it is. He said, okay, he bought the banana. It was like a month old. That banana would have been black on the wall. It was not the banana, right? Beast Mode says, when you think of Ondo, you think of Larry Fink. That's very true. That's very true. You think BlackRock when you think Ondo.
I think BlackRock when I think Caspa.
How come?
Because they were involved in early mining with Caspa.
Oh,
like they were involved like early on. And obviously it's decentralized, but I think of them too. BlackRock's had their hands in crypto, I think, longer than we're aware, actually.
I think the Caspa's stuck in a very similar position to what Cardonzo in the previous cycle. At one point they had no smart contracts, as you remember. They finally got that going. That was like the main argument against Cardano in the 2021 cycle. Well, there's no smart contracts. And then when they got smart contracts, they're like, well, no one's building on it. And one could argue still no one's building on it, right? Name someone quick. Name someone off the top of your head that's building on Cardano. You can't say midnight.
Who's building in the space on anything right now? It's just not there. We're not at that point yet.
Everyone's building on Ethereum and Solana right now. Let's just
yeah, but that just means they're building projects. They're creating new tokens. I mean, not that there's not building, not that that's not happening too, but I just mean, I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I mean.
To just take a little step back to the previous topic, I truly believe that a figurehead helps. If you look at what Canton's doing now, Yuval Roots is now out speaking. He's on shows. He's on CSNBC. He's jawing back and forth with Charles Hoskinson. I think the figurehead kind of CEO guy kind of helps. Helps marketing, it helps community. You can tell he's like he's out there doing stuff with Cypress Decimator and stuff like that. Um, Simon Babakani, once he took over the CEO role, he started being more vocal with Zevek. We always see Brad Garlinghouse out there now, especially now that we have this new regime. Like he's been pictured with Trump. He's been at various different dinners out and about now. The CEO like kind of lead guy kind of promoting. I think it works, and Charles Hoskinson really is the one who put that kind of blueprint on the map.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm glad you said that because in the last cycle, one of the reasons I was big into Cardonzo and I still believe that Cardonzo will succeed is because of that man. And he says some things I disagree with. He says some things I do agree with. But at the end of the day, what drew me to Cardonzo was the passion that Charles has for it, right? That man gives a crap about his blockchain. Like he will viciously defend it on the internet if someone floods it. Remember when he went after like BitBoy and stuff because BitBoy made a video about it, and like anyone who floods it, he's making a video and he's firing back. He's got receipts, right? So he's got passion for his blockchain. I'll give him that, right?
Didn't BitBoy just lose a lawsuit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
It's a
It's
defamation.
that sucks, man. Like he had it coming. He earned it, as I like to say. He earned it, but that sucks, bro. I feel bad for the guy. Like,
Well, here's the thing about BitBoy really quick. I don't want to make a whole segment on it, but whether you love him, whether you hate him, he's a controversial person in the space. But I think at the end of the day, he's a net positive for crypto. I mean, let's be honest. He was the face for new retail investors coming into crypto for a very long time. Can he be a little bit off base and stuff like that? Well, Jesse, you and I have had
That's
many
one way to put it.
yeah, right. He doesn't always make the best decisions. Let's put it that way, right? I don't want to, but at the end of the day, I do believe, and it goes back to being a face of a blockchain company. Well, it's same on the retail side for the investors and YouTubers, whatever. You do need charismatic people and controversial characters in this space to bring attention to it, right?
So, counter thought though. Just hear me out real quick. So, this is one thing that I sometimes think about is I think that there's a void in crypto of quality companies, right? There's a ton of scams, way more than there needs to be. And I think regarding blockchain itself, there's a lot of companies that want to use automation and smart contracts, but they don't want all the hassle that comes with it. And so, like for example, there's companies that are out there that are using smart contracts on stuff like Avalanche. They're using stable coins, etc. And they're not using these publicly available cryptocurrencies and whatnot, So I guess what I'm saying is for as good as it can be with a charismatic frontman, I think that there's an actual appetite from quality players that don't want any of that, and they simply want the smart contract. I don't know where I'm going with that, but just a thought.
I'd like to piggyback on that thought because while yes, I agree with Rob that BitBoy had a net positive impact as far as onboarding a bunch of people. I mean, how many people watch BitBoy religiously, like every day, for the entertainment, let alone for the education? And there was education there. But talking about a little bit, piggybacking onto what Jesse was saying here, and I'm taking it a little bit in my own direction here. The crypto space right now, and I want everybody who's watching this to really pay attention, man. Right now, and since 2017, since 2015, we've had a real problem with quality, like Jesse was saying. We've had a real problem with quality projects, and not just quality projects, but quality charismatic influencers. Having charisma is great, but if all you're doing is being charismatic and promoting a project like BitBoy did many of times, like Crypto Banter, and this is nothing, none of these three people here are saying what I'm saying. I'm saying this to myself, and maybe they all agree with me, maybe not. I'm not trying to put words in their mouth so that they're under fire from anybody, but I'm just saying people like Crypto Banter, people like Carl from the Moon, people like Crypto Lark, people like BitBoy, people like Altcoin Daily, these huge accounts, people like Crypto Bureau, Coin Bureau, whatever it is, these huge accounts that promote all kinds of brand new projects that are super fancy. They don't give a shit about your money. Excuse my language. They don't give a shit about your money. They don't care. They took a paycheck to charismatically bring to your attention a brand new investment that's super great. How many of you got screwed on those investments? How many of you actually made money? None of you, because you weren't on the inside before BitBoy, before all these people started to promote them. The space has a real, and I'm passionate about this. I'm sorry that I'm getting fired up, but I'm not sorry at the same time. I respect all three of you, because, and I have respect for myself, and I have respect for people like Crypto Archie. I have respect for people that Rob brings together. I have a lot of respect for a lot of YouTubers like us who are not. I've promoted projects that have flopped. I've promoted projects that have failed. I've never been paid to promote a project. This was a genuine mistake, a genuine miss, a genuine, let's call it a miss. Yeah, a flop on my behalf. Where these other guys that are successful crypto traders, they're not successful crypto traders, guys. They made money off of you buying the projects that they got paid to talk about. They made money off of you clicking on their affiliate links to trade on these exchanges for these projects. That, like, that's how they've made all their money. That's literally how it is. There's a lot of fraud, and I don't mean fraud as far as financial fraud goes in this space. I mean as far as like a person, a character goes. A lot of these very successful crypto people, they make it out as if they're successful because of trading, but really they were successful because of the brand deals that they made with these companies that never had a good project. They just had good marketing, and you are the reason why these people are successful, not because of their trading. So as a community, and just to tie this all together, I am a part of this. I know you guys are a part of this, but I just want crypto to really make a push to it's not that these people are bad. It's just something we've accepted as a standard, right? Like, it's a bad thing. We'll look back and be like, how is that ever acceptable? But it just is. It just is. It's a shit fest. And we're like, whatever comes our way, pay me to talk about it. I'll talk about it. My audience doesn't care because maybe they can degen on the pump. And then if they lose, it's their decision anyways. They know all the risks, whatever. Like, that's what people are saying. What a lot of YouTubers say is, screw your money, pay me, and then I don't care. And then whenever that project flops, they never make an apology video. They never do anything like that. I'm not that everybody's perfect. It's not easy to talk about every single thing that you talk about whenever it flops. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But damn it, if we don't need to up the standards of how information is brought. I think every influencer should be required. It should be, if not a law, a moral code that we all hold to, where if you're paid to talk about something, we should know that. Cool. Maybe it's a good project. Let me know if you've been paid, because if you've been paid, that at least lets me know that you don't actually believe what you're saying. You're just being paid to tell. And that's cool. That's cool. Thank you for bringing this project to my attention. But I'd rather invest in things that you're not being paid to talk about, or things that I've done my own research on. I went on a whole rant there, but just talking about.
We did see a new standard be put in place by the SEC. That's one of the things Gary Gensler did for the positive. What celebrity was it again? Was it the Kardashian or something like that? There was a female, maybe it was a singer, but she promoted a project and she didn't admit that she was paid by the company to promote it. Who was that?
Is that FTX?
Hawk to a girl?
No.
You're talking about Kim Kardashian. I think it was FTX, wasn't it?
No, it was a specific crypto project she promoted. It was like, I think it was like ETH something. Something. And anyway, and she got sued and settled with the SEC because she didn't disclose that she was being paid to promote said crypto project and that she didn't actually buy any of it, right? And I'm with you on what you said, Cesar, that me, again, my channel, we've never taken any specific crypto project to, as a sponsor to talk about, and we're not interested in it. We look for sponsors outside of crypto, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with taking a sponsorship from somebody in crypto for a project, but tell us. Let us know.
But the thing is, I agree with you that standard should be set, that you got to disclose this stuff. And taking, like me, so I'm the same as you. I don't use the word promoted because it wasn't paid to, but I've talked a lot about a project in the past, and we all have, that ended up not doing so well, right? But in those situations, I lost just as much as everybody else, because it was a project I was talking about, because I was buying the project and because I liked the project. So if it flops, I flopped too. That's how it
should be. The captain goes down with the ship. That's how it should be. Not your followers get screwed, but you made a paycheck because they paid you to get to talk about it anyways. Like,
yeah,
that happens.
So I had one in the past that they had emailed me at some point in time, and I looked into it, right? And I thought, oh, this was pretty cool. It was like an automated AI trader of Bitcoin. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I can do a video on that. It piqued my interest. It was interesting. And ironically, I later talked to the guy who was the founder of it. And he was telling me how they paid $80,000 to one of the large accounts on Twitter that's still there today to advertise this thing. And he's like, man, we got absolutely nothing out of that. It was a complete waste. He was telling me, he was like, your video was better than his, and we didn't even have an arrangement here. I was like, I just looked at it and thought it was interesting.
That would be $80,000, please.
Yeah.
Ben wants to know about Layer Zero. It's his baby over on the Patreon. Cesar, could you do me a favor? Could you give your thoughts on maybe the chart for Layer Zero?
Yeah, I'll chart it. I think Zero seems interesting, Ben. I think it does seem interesting as a project and as a chart. Here, let me pull up the chart real quick. Hold on. ZRO.
While he's doing that,
everything. Sorry.
Well, while you're doing that, Ken wants to know about Kita the cheetah. I don't know much about KTA. Cesar, I know you've done charting on it in the past, but I really don't know much about it at all. So,
can you guys see this? Do I have to share my screen?
Go share screen, yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Share screen. Share screen. Okay, I think. All right, let me see. Are we there?
No.
No?
No, we can see, but I can't
What about, let me see. What about let me see.
I think, Rob, if you just change the view to just him, I think it gives you the option to just blow up his panel.
Here, I got it. Wait, I think I know what to do. Shit, wait, maybe not. No, yeah, Rob, you do it.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that here.
I think in the top right next to his panel, there should be
Let me try one more thing. Let me just see if this works.
You go. You got it now. Yeah.
Okay. Does this do anything? Does that look normal, or is there anything weird?
Hang on, I'm trying to add it to the stage. There you go.
That's sweet.
There's no OBS overlay or anything like that. It just looks normal to you guys.
No, we've got your OBS. Yeah.
Son of a gun. Okay. All right. Let me do it on one more thing. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Share screen, and instead of on OBS, I will just do the window. Here we go. Yeah, let's try that. All right, this should be better. Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry, I don't do this all the time. It's always an issue every time, but we make it work. Thank you guys for your patience. So ZRO, I don't really want to give a explanation or a fundamental explanation to what it is, because, to be completely fair, I don't really know. It's something with zero proof knowledge. I don't know. It's a let's see actually. What is Layer Zero crypto? Instead of me fumbling over my words, Google Chat GBT can give it to me. Let's go. Layer Zero is an omni-chain interoperability protocol that functions as a foundational communication layer connecting disparate blockchains to allow seamless asset transfers and data sharing between them. Okay, cool. So like kind of like bridging across chains, right? Anyways, layer zero here, looking at it on a weekly basis. We're on Coinbase. I don't know. Is this the most history? Let me look on Binance real quick and just see. Yeah, that seems to be it. Okay, cool. So you've been selling off, but not too harshly. I mean, if we compare you, really, we're on a weekly basis. We compare you to the average coin in the market right now. Where you are here is actually in a much better position than the average crypto, right? Because the average crypto, from their lows in June, from their lows in October, from their lows in November, from their lows in December, they're actually lower than those lows. Whereas layer zero, lower. I was trying to draw down. It's not letting me draw. What's going on? Let me try something real quick. Hold on. My computer's bugging out, guys. I'm sorry. One second. Just wait. All right. Let's see if that does anything. It's not. It's still bugging out. I don't know why it's bugging out. But layer zero is outperforming the average crypto, so that's nice to see. It does seem as though this whole area is a a cumulative phase, I would say. You are shifted downwards, but if we look at the volume here, there's a lot of volume that's come in on these recent movements up. And I know that you have some big spikes to the upside, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, think about it in the grand context. You have a lot of volume here. What's here? What is that? That's your lowest end of price action that you've had in your whole history as a chart here. At least I think. Again, I don't know if this is the full history. This is just on Coinbase, but obviously some screwy price action over the past few weeks.
Kind of looks like a potential.
Looking at the weekly RSI, I mean, this could be a bottom. It's possible that you could go lower. Let me just see real quick. Low to high. Golden ratio support. You're right at your 1.618. You found resistance here at your 618. Your golden ratio there, resistance, and then support here. A little serendipity is nice to see. You're still being held down by this area, but something does seem different about this compared to the rest of the move, right? It's not just like another lower high. Here, it's a tandem high. It's in the same kind of area here, and you do have some higher lows to build from. Your RSI is also showing strength like we haven't seen throughout this whole drop. And you've got 2 weeks to the downside. I mean, I think you look interesting. I think what you're doing is interesting. If it sounds like a whole lot of, I don't know, it could be this or it could be that, that's because I don't know. Nobody knows.
Could go down.
Sideways stuff. If I had to guess, and I'm going to guess, that's all this is. This is just a giant guess because I know very little about this project. I know that some people are interested in it. I've heard a lot of people talk about it over the past few months, especially, and obviously over the past few years, or a couple of years. But if I had to guess, I do think that layer zero is getting set up for some type of a move above this level. Okay. And putting our fibs on here from our all-time high to our all-time low, my assumption would be, well, we're probably going to go to the golden ratio. Now, does that mean that from here we're building higher lows, we're in a bull market, and it's off to the races to new all-time highs? No. This could just be a lower high on a macro scale that brings us to lower levels here. That's all that could be, all that needs to be. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. But if I had to guess, I do think I feel pretty confident in this as a low. And I feel pretty confident in the idea of us going to this golden ratio so long as we hold this low. If we go lower, if you were to go lower, let me just see here real quick. I would guess that you would see 91 cents. I mean, it's a big range, man. 91 to 40 cents is a possibility. Probably something around that 90 to 60 cent level if you were to go lower. But I'm personally not expecting that.
Yeah, that would take Bitcoin going to the next leg down for something like that to happen, though.
Yeah, we're just not in that. It's not that we can't move lower, and I think that the market can move lower. We could see lower prices overall from here for various cryptos, but we're not going to see like what we did in November, guys. That kind of dropping, it's not going to happen for months. Bitcoin up or down doesn't make movements like that just regularly. It takes time. Here, this looks like a double bottom. I mean, it's a bottom at prior areas of resistance, at prior support. It's not perfect, but it still looks pretty damn good. Low to high.
Kind of looks like a second double bottom you're trying to play out there, eh?
This one? I'm sorry?
Yeah, looks like another double bottom you've got going on.
Yeah, this one here, that one's definitely, I mean, that's a beautiful looking W pattern right there. I mean, it's pretty perfect. It didn't complete. Typically, these complete above where they began, but it's pretty nice to see. I mean, overall, no, I was about to say this could be like some kind of cup with handle, but it's too big. It's really weird. I will just say this first and foremost. This is really weird price action, but for what it's worth, in this weirdness, and I could be wrong here, I'm going with the upside. I think that you will move up. That doesn't mean you'll see new all-time highs, but I do believe you'll probably see prices somewhere around $3.72 to $4.25 before going below this low. I do personally believe you will go below this low. I think it will happen. I think it's just a matter of time, but I think you have some upside to go first and then some downside probably.
So just my 2 cents, but those volume spikes to me look like a market maker.
Yeah.
Probably.
Good observation.
I mean, looking at this on the 1 hour, let's just see. We can go in a little bit. I mean, probably, right? This isn't like the whole crypto space coming together at this time to invest.
For 3 hours.
Probably, yeah. I mean, look at this, for example, right? Low volume times, okay? Very low volume here throughout this, just very low volume. Doesn't take a lot to move the price. A lot of volume came in, they moved the price. Look at how much volume came out here. The price didn't move. They got in, they offloaded, and now they just abandoned it. There's no size like this that's come in yet. They're probably going to do the same thing here pretty soon, and it will be artificial. A lot of these pumps, a lot of these breakouts, especially in moments like this, they're not generated by retail. They are generated by market makers. And the whole purpose is to get you distracted. We're in a bear market. You're supposed to accumulate cash. You're going to see this thing moving up. Oh my God, we're in a bear market, but look at how this is doing. I'm going to buy here. And then we go down over the months to come. You get lower. It's a money grab. It's a cash grab. And yeah, Jesse, I wouldn't doubt at all that this is probably artificial to a large degree. But that doesn't mean that it won't go up. I still think that it'll go up. There can be good artificial things too.
Yeah, I know from some of the institutional side, they do not like to see a chart that just goes down. And so love them or hate them, sometimes you do need a market maker to give it those little spikes to get people interested to make something happen. And that's kind of what that looks like.
Yeah. Katrina, my girl, there she is in the flesh. What's going on? That's my dog right there. Hit Gary Daly. You're gonna love my nuts. Just remember that commercial?
Oh yeah.
I still can't believe they let him say that on national television. You're gonna love my nuts. As I predicted, Huck to a girl selling feet pics.
It'd be like that, bro. It'd be like that.
Hard
I don't
time.
judge you, Huck to a girl. I don't judge you. I understand you. I wish I was you. Maybe not. but
your camera's still off.
I don't know why. It shows that it's working on my end, but I'm gonna try something. If I leave, I'll just hop back in. Okay.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, so what else is going on? So what's going on over on in your neck of the woods there, Jesse? What have you been paying attention to in the crypto space lately? Anything besides like maybe the tariffs or something you're watching, or?
Yeah, just sort of the geopolitical, the wider space. You know this about me. I kind of have a background in the corporate world, and typically in the business space, you don't like volatility. You need some sort of stability for things to rise over time. And I think just this place that we're in right now, it's the timeline is very volatile by the day, and it's hard to get any momentum because we have so much chop. Now that's not to say that there aren't opportunities with the chop, because I think there are, but it's not like going to be a steady gainer here or anything like that. It's rough sailing. It's kind of my overall thought.
I was also going to ask you, I don't know how much looking into the new partnership that Junction had with Swan Chain. Did you look into that at all?
No, I saw the announcement, but I didn't look into it.
Yeah, it's more of it's huge for them, but basically they're providing GPU and CPU processing power to Junction, obviously increasing the accessibility for Junction to supply more. So it's huge for them, for Junction, in my opinion. But I shot Hara a message there. I can now confidently say my friend Hara-san, right? we what do you call it? When you send letters through snail
Pen
mail.
pal. He's a
Yes,
pen pal.
he's my pen pal. Yes.
So what is the reach of Swan Chain? Where even is that one?
It's in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. They like the reach of them. I guess it doesn't really, since they're local. I guess the biggest thing is just the processing power, right? That Jiangxin can supply, and that's more of a global thing. But yeah, in terms of they're local, so yeah.
You know, a funny thing with Jasmine that I always thought was, if you can't make it in Japan, how are you going to make it anywhere else? I always kind of had that thought in the back of my head, right? Like,
Well, you could flip that on your head though, on its head, and say, if you can make it in Japan, you can make it anywhere, seeing as they do have some of the strictest regulation laws in the world.
very true. Yes.
Right. So, I've speculated recently that you have Waymo out there.
I don't know.
Waymo, the self-driving Uber. They're like Uber cars, but they're self-driving.
Not where I'm at now.
Okay. Well, they're out there where Rue is, and I got to experience them. They're everywhere in Arizona, everywhere. Like to the point where they're probably taking a lot of profit away from Ubers and stuff like that. Because I personally prefer getting into a car, and I don't want the driver talking to me and stuff like that. Right? Just let me sit quietly in the back seat, and, right? Especially on the longer drives, man. Just let me just drift. Right? Let me just drift. But Waymo, yes. Anyways, they obviously self-driving cars. They have all this tech on them, but they're constantly updating road conditions, traffic, and all that kind of stuff, weather conditions and stuff, to a server, obviously, right? For all of them to kind of know which path to take you. Because the same thing with Uber, you just put in your destination ahead of time on the app. It picks you up, you get in, it drives you to your destination. It needs to know the best route to get there, obviously, right? Well, they're testing now. They're also, like I said, they're fully deployed out in like Arizona and a few more places, right? They're testing in Tokyo right now. Now, who would be a great company to work with in Japan off the top of your head for a project like that, right? So, yeah, definitely Jasmine. So that's one of the questions I want to pose to Hara is, have you put any thought into this? And Max has really been pushing the concept of whether Hara and Jasmine have been trying to contact Elon and X about their privacy issues in Japan, because they are having those privacy issues out there, right? So X is not up to regulation standards in Japan when it comes to privacy. So that is hanging over their heads. So I wonder if Jasmine can solve that problem for them. Well, I know that they can. I wonder if they're going to try.
The interesting thing with Harasan though is he always downplays everything. So hard to say. Really hard to say. He always kind of makes it sound like he's surprised when big things happen, but then he lets it slip these really big things.
Yeah. Yeah, like when I was talking to him, and I asked him about like a Jasmine spot ETF in Japan or something, and he's, that's happening. You understand that in itself is like an announcement, right? Like, this is big news, man. He's like, he just nonchalantly, drinks his water. It's cool.
Yeah. I want to say in the past, didn't they do like a road test on Mount Fuji with Honda or something like that? There was something that they were part of sort of loosely that kind of went out there that they never really advertised that much. So there could be an opportunity there. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
The best entrepreneurs always say, why not? And they see opportunities when no one else does. And everybody else goes, oh, that'll never happen. And then they make it happen. So why not?
It'll never happen until it happens. That's the thing, right? The answer is always no unless you try. Worst thing she can say is no, and then she says, ew. Away she goes.
That saying too, like if you just hear those words, oh, that'll never happen. What you're saying is, if it does happen, that's going to be kind of interesting, right? That's so entrepreneurs who explore those endeavors going against the grain, that's definitely, and that not just in entrepreneurship, but in like, fuck man, politics, media, crypto. It kind of that contrarian state of mind typically works well, typically for the average person. I I'm kind of curious about something that's not a small bit of discussion that we kind of passed over. I didn't mean to pass over it earlier, but Ruel, you were talking about the uh, potential war between Iran and the United States. I don't normally like to like talk about stuff like that or like fearmonger or whatever, but things are kicking up. I'm not really aware, and I would like to know more. I don't know if you guys, if there's time to talk about that, but that's something that I've been meaning to ask about.
Yeah. What? So what? Yeah. I expand on it. Absolutely.
So
What?
there's just been rumors out there that military's kind of posturing over there, like something's gonna happen,
Our
and
military?
yes, and
I
everybody's
mean,
kind of afraid that something like that will happen and send the market down.
Well,
would
here's my.
would we go to war, or would we just, I guess it's the same thing, right? Or would we help with the regime change? Help with the regime change, right? Like, or like,
I think helping with the regime change would be a bad idea. We've learned that in the past, but I think you're looking at, like with Argentina, a more surgical strike on like a Saturday or something when the markets are closed, right? And then they just go in, they do what they need to do, and by Monday it's like, well, that happened, right? Markets
I
are
mean,
normal again.
it's bad, y'all. What's going on in Iran? It's bad right now.
Oh yeah,
Like, I know in America, a lot of these, and I'm not trying to get political, but there's a lot of people who want to try to compare what's going on in America to a modern day Holocaust. Y'all don't. I mean, not that I would know. I was never there either. I was never at the but that's it's disgusting actually to see people comparing that whenever what's really going on in Iran. It's not even comparable to the Holocaust in itself. But like that's far worse. That's really bad shit that's going on in Iran right now, you guys. Like, and the media is not talking about it too much.
there are
It's
definitely
it's
there are definitely certain things that have happened in the history of our species that should never be watered down. Should never be, referring to somebody else as Hitler, for example, or referring.
and
You know what I'm
this
saying?
is
You 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 take meaning away from it when you do that by trying
yeah,
to add meaning to something else in an exaggerated way, right? There's some things
yes.
that have happened like that are just non-comparables to anything that can or has happened.
I
And
agree. And I'm not trying to compare that to what's going on in Iran. I'm just saying that shit's way worse.
yeah,
That's way worse. Like we got there's problems all over the world, but
and that
it's really interesting how the media affects what problems we focus on.
that's
They're
why
really good.
I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be a drawn out thing, to be honest with you, because the people are not behind the regime right now, right? I think,
Right.
like, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like, it's not like they're gonna fight to defend the current regime or whatever. So, in my opinion, anyway, you just took out like 30,000 of them. I don't think they're on your side necessarily.
This this was a rumor, man. I heard that Iran was going to see a regime change, just like how it's happening right now. Like it would be something that's caused by the people. That's what was said. I forget what the guy's name is. He was on Joe Rogan, but he talked about this like a year ago. Back when the 12-day war, right, that we had, as
Hmm.
Trump would call it, the 12-day war with Iran, where we dropped bombs. There was people were saying that we were trying to force a regime change there, and this guy was saying no, it's not going to happen now, but there will be a movement soon within the next year. I forget what the guy's name is, but he was on Joe Rogan. I'm wondering if anybody knows who I'm talking about. But it's just crazy how sudden things like this, that there are people who can see it coming a mile away, And maybe Jesse is more aware because you say you pay attention to geopolitical stuff. Maybe you're one of those people who's like aware of stuff like this. I would have never guessed. And when they said that, I thought this Iran stuff was put to bed, and clearly it's not. And it's crazy to hear something from like a year ago and see it playing out exactly as it is right now. It really makes you wonder how much of this is orchestrated to some degree. Not that hardship and fighting hardship is orchestrated. There are genuine people, genuine emotions and stuff like that going into this, but it's talking about markets being orchestrated, I think it goes into the real world too. It's weird.
Well, if you think about, not to get too political here, but if you think about Israel and who's leading Israel was about to be found guilty of crimes, I'm assuming, and not being leading Israel. And so all of a sudden, Israel has that, obviously the terrorist attack, whether that was allowed or not allowed, or who knows, but it happened. And they've basically been on a war front ever since. And anybody who's seen those photos of Gaza, I mean, they've obliterated the entire place. They're starving and killing literally everyone there, whether they're guilty or not, who knows. And so is that still the enemy? And do they still need to be on a war footing? No. However, you start a war, you start something with Iran, and then they're still on a war footing, and that goes on and it's prolonged, and he avoids anything that would have potentially happened at some point in time. So there could be something there. I also think, Hegseth likes to pretend he's the baddest guy in the room, and he likes to posture. And if you look at like what they're doing, that's exactly what Russia did with Ukraine, where they bulked up all their shit right on the border for months. They all said they're going to invade. Everybody said there's no way. And then they invaded. Now, with all this, we just saw what happened with Iraq and Afghanistan and how regime change really worked out. And maybe you could say in Iraq it's sort of worked out, but I mean, Afghanistan was a disaster, and what we left in the middle of the night, and now it's just as bad as it was, when the whole thing started. So a lot of it, I think, kind of comes down to like distraction and what's really the geopolitical game here. What are you gaining? You're not getting oil. You're not getting riches. You're not. I don't know. Even the people of Iran. We want to think that we're involved in these things for the good reasons. We never are. There's always some underlying current of what's going on here. We didn't join World War II because we were against the Nazis. We joined because of Pearl Harbor. So, there's always a bit of a sleight of hand, I think. But ultimately, Trump is sort of known for like just these, whoever said it, the surgical strike, right? I mean, that's kind of what he does. But there's always fallout from it. He killed the Iranian general the first time around, and then they bombed a commercial airliner with a missile and killed 300 people. I didn't see him apologize for that one. Every time he does this, there's fallout somewhere, right? Yeah. Even, the thing with kidnapping Maduro, how many people they kill along the way to do that, so I don't know, to me, it's all distraction. And again, I'm just a normal guy living a normal life who wants some semblance of normalcy on a daily basis. So it's a little much, on a day to day, this craziness that we go through, this constant gaslighting and stepping back and causing a problem, breaking it. We get 100% taken away. We eventually get 25% back and saying you fixed it. This is what I see day to day to day to day, and it's exhausting.
Jess is just a squirrel trying to get a nut. That's it.
Don't sign up for Reddit. Let me just say that.
Yeah,
you gotta love these nuts, man.
You gotta love these nuts. Oh, I stay off Reddit, man. I have, like I said, like we were joking about earlier, going to Reddit for valid crypto information is like going to Wikipedia for world facts, right? Like any moron can put anything they want in there and represent it as some sort of a fact. So, but yeah. Yeah, wow, we've been going for an hour and a half. Fantastic, guys. I could go for hours. That's what she said. All right, guys. So I think we should wrap it there, though. As always, guys, thank you so much for being on the show, man. We'll get you all back in ASAP. Caesar usually takes about 3 months because he reads his messages every 3 months or so, right? I got to bust his balls until I drill it into his head that he's like, I wonder if Rob's messaged me today.
I'm laughing because it's like that sometimes, man. I'm literally like, oh shit. Like, wait a sec. I literally woke up and like, wait, it's the 21st today, which I don't know. For those of you guys, I'm curious too. For because we're all content creators here, and then our audience can know this stuff. I would assume it's not like private information. Do you guys all get paid out on the 21st for YouTube?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 I get paid for so that's why I was like, oh, it's the 21st. I get paid out today. That's cool. Oh, and I'm pretty sure I have to go with. I had a thing with Rob. I was like, why is that day? This day sounds
another thing
like
today. What's that other thing
there's
I
something
had to
important.
do?
By the way, for anybody who's curious, me with my YouTube channel with about 52,000 subscribers, and I make videos every single day. No, I cannot live on that alone. You do not make a lot of money as a YouTuber. At least at this level. So if anybody's like, oh, that's when they get paid out, they just do this, they just talk about this stuff to make money, whatever. Like, no, I talk about this because I love it. I talk about it every day because I love it. I'm definitely not doing it for the money. That's if I did, or if any of us did, we'd probably be taking those partnerships with various crypto projects that we don't believe in, stuff like that.
Yeah. I have people say that sometimes too, like, oh, you're just doing it for money and stuff like that. It's like, let's just assume for 1 second that you're right for argument's sake, and that we do this for the money. Do you go to your mechanic for an oil change, and when he hands you the bill, do you say, whoa, you're just doing this for the money, bro? What the hell, right? You go to your doctors for an operation or something, and when you get the invoice, you go, whoa, you're just doing this for the money? That's a world some people live in, right?
Yeah. Even if the money was the most important part, my rent is more expensive than my YouTube check.
But well, exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
Yeah, but it's a ridiculous take that some people have, right? Like, I think that some people think that they're entitled to other people's knowledge, experience, and wisdom because it's on the internet. They think that they should get it for free. Like, how many people I've had that get mad that I won't help them? Like, what do you mean you're not going to help me, learn how to make life-changing wealth for myself for free? Make me rich. You owe that to me.
It's like, yeah, you're asking for a lot, and it's not a guarantee either. That's what, like, I'm sure you guys have, people who in the real world who approach you and are like, hey man, I'll pay you for your time to talk about this. And it's like if you take money and to talk about stuff, whatever, that's fine. I have never charged. I've rarely charged people to pick my brain about crypto. And that's because I always like, they have to want to pay me. Like really, really want to, because oftentimes I'm just like, no, I don't want it, because all the information I'm giving you, you could still lose money. It could not work out well, and everything I can say is true, and you still lose money. Like, it just, like,
I try to avoid it in my day-to-day life, like outside of the internet. Like, when I was in Arizona, Rue, you met my buddy Gamble. He's a good friend of mine. He's a doctor out there. So he said, yeah, he's like, do you mind going to this kind of a white collar dinner? Right? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, let's go. Right? So we go to this dinner with all these other doctors. Right? I sit down at the table, and a bunch of doctors, major anesthesiologists and surgeons and all this kind of stuff. And then there's me, the YouTuber. Right?
I bet they like talking crypto, though, right?
Oh,
most of them do.
I shut that down so fast, and it was I probably sounded like really mean about it, but immediately they say to me, one guy turns to me and says, oh, we want to pick your brain about crypto, if that's okay. And I chuckled a little bit, and I said, yeah, it's funny. He said, every single social event I go to, somebody looks at me and says, I just want to pick your brain about crypto, right? And I shut it down. They're like, oh, like, but it's true, right? Like, you wanna kind of unwind from it at some point, and there's other things in life that we can talk about, right? So, and like Cesar said, like, dude, I could tell you stuff that I like, I could tell you what I know, but that still doesn't guarantee that you're not going to buy something and get wrecked, right?
And I'm on the opposite end. You want to talk about crypto? I'll bother you. I will. You will. You'll
3
wish you
o'clock in the
didn't.
morning. Hello.
I'm like, I hold myself back, but yeah, it is really dangerous. I'm very enthusiastic. I'm very like, I love crypto, and I think we all do. Obviously, we all do. But everybody has different ways about going about things, and I'm with you, Rob. It's nice to live life outside of this too. You have designated times for these things, and that's what
Yeah.
normally, if I do try to talk to people about crypto, it's never at the party, it's never at the event. It's like, hey, let's schedule something later. Let's talk about this later. Like, let's just enjoy this now. If you want to meet up, cool. Let's have some coffee, whatever. We'll talk about it.
By the end of a full day of making content and live streams and stuff, my brain's mush. It's done. I need to put the TV on. I need to put Netflix on for half an hour and watch The Flash or something, dude. Because I'm just like, I got nothing, man.
Before YouTube, information has never been free. Like you said, Rob, you sat down with a table of doctors. They all went to school. They all pay for their degree, right?
Yeah.
People get a little spoiled that you can, like, if you really wanted to, you could fix your car. You could go on YouTube, find a video, and go fix your car. But at the end of the day, really, information is not free. It's going to cost you something. If it's just your time, it's going to cost you something.
Yeah, that's true. But like I said at the beginning, some people think they're entitled to other people's knowledge, experience, and stuff like that for free. And if you dare ask, like, it's no different than going to a mechanic and acting shocked when you get handed an invoice, right?
Yep.
It's a good comparison. It's a good comparison.
Yeah. So, but outside of that, guys, yeah, I will see you guys all again. Jesse, I'll shoot you a text, buddy, because I got another update about the podcast. Things are rolling along pretty good. So, yeah, I'm excited to get started, man.
Me too.
Where we're not censored and we can really right?
Yeah.
We can solve the world's problems.
Podcast. Yeah.
Yes, these are Jesse and I are launching an everything podcast where nothing is kind of off the table, but obviously we can't do it on YouTube because of the restrictions on what we're allowed to talk about. So
yeah, that's fair. Well, that's cool. Include me in that, or invite me. I'll watch. I don't care. I'll listen. Whatever. However to go about that. Jesse, it was really nice to meet you. Ruel, always good to see you, my man. And Future, of course, Rob, good to see you as well. This was fun, guys. I really enjoyed this.
All right, guys, make sure that you go over to each of our guests' channels and shoot them a sub, as always, because you're dealing with the best of the best here, guys. So check it out. I'm subbed to all their channels. I tune in. People always ask me, well, who do you watch? Well, you're looking at it, okay? So, all right, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting the channel. And God bless.